Welcome to the Breakfast Club edition. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Tom.
I'm Kim.
And we are the Three Old Reds fans coming to you from Studio 82, just down the street from our good friends at Beans in the heart of Cedarville, the famous birthplace and final resting place of Reds legend Bumpus Jones. Be sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app or website and leave us a review. If you listen on iTunes, please make it a 5-star review. That will help other Reds fans find us. Because like when you go searching for Reds or whatever, you don't find us. But if we start getting some reviews, other people will find us. And you can help spread our
joy.
Our joy.
So is that how the person in Ukraine found us?
It could be. Could be. Or it was just, or they were sitting on their phone tapping stuff and going, what? What's that? I didn't mean to hit that.
They thought we were communists again.
Yeah, I know. And on our Podbean website, you can help support our efforts to upgrade our equipment, which we've done a little bit today, for as little as $1 a month. So today is April 14th, and as we're recording this, and Kim showed up this morning and said, guess what today is? And I said, Saturday. And what is today?
April 14th.
No, but what is it? What's the significance?
It is the birth date of Peter
Edward
Rose. So he's what, 77?
A.K.A. Charlie Hustle, 77.
Hard to believe he's that old.
Right. So do you suppose he picked his uniform number because that was his birthday?
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Didn't he? I think it had a different number starting out. I don't remember in the minors. You know how all of what was it? Johnny Bench we saw one time had number 15.
Like
I think.
Like in spring training or whatever. Yeah.
We don't think Sinzel's going to stay 77 or whatever he was.
Right. Well, when you look up Pete on Baseball Reference, the only number they give for him as a major leaguer is 14. Then in an actual major league game, now he could have. He could have worn a different number in spring training or whatever in the minors, but as a major leaguer, he was only number 14. And Pete came up from Single A. I don't think he ever played above Single A before he made it to the Reds. Yeah.
Well, maybe Hunter Greene will do the same thing.
Oh, that would be nice. Boy, let's talk about good news. There's not much good news to talk about.
Well, that's a wrap then.
You want to, yeah. So you want to start with Hunter Greene? He's pitching again tonight in Dayton, right?
And close with him. Let's go on a high note.
So we're going to make him a starter and a closer?
Well,
we need both.
For the show, we can start on a high note. We can close on a high note.
All right. So Hunter's pitching tonight. All eyes will be on there again. Won't be quite the media circus I think it was Monday night down there. But so I was at the game Sunday. I covered the Sunday game. And then I was doing something else Monday, or I would have gone. But I was talking to the media relation guy there, Tom Nicholas, who's also their broadcast guy, and he said, I got every Cincinnati TV station. Of course, all the Dayton media was going to be there, all the TV stations and Dayton Daily News. He said, I got MLB.com coming, I got Red Leg Nation coming, I got The Athletic coming, and there was a couple others. So it was going to be, he had his normal setup in the press box. There's a counter, there's room for like 6 people, which is usually more than enough. The one guy sitting on the end is the guy that does the StatCast thing. He's got a computer hooked up to that, and there's plenty of room. Then they had a high table with room for 4 people sitting behind that.
Behind it.
Yeah, he already had that set up. So he was ready for the Hunter Greene show. So, and I think we're ready for the Hunter Greene show. If we segue into this thing, as you said, Kim, I said, man, we talked about doing this Thursday. We had to put it off a couple of days, and you're like, well, maybe they'll win a game between now and then, but we haven't. So. What do you make of this? 2 and what? 11? After last night?
After last night. It's last year, we started off well. But I felt like even when things started to go south with the pitching, they were still fun to watch. Because they were hitting the ball.
Right.
I think we have 6 guys that hit 20 home runs last year?
Yeah.
This year, we don't have the pitching, and nobody's hitting. What were the stats on the hitting, Jeff?
Well, they're tied for last in extra base hits in all Major League Baseball with the Marlins, which you expect the Marlins to be back because they got rid of everybody that could hit extra base hits.
Yeah, but they're actually playing okay this year.
Yeah, their records. Well, everybody's record's better than the Reds, isn't it?
Yeah, they're 4-9.
Yeah, well, I'd take that. So they have 14 doubles. There's teams that have like 30-some doubles.
Oh,
they got 1 triple, which that doesn't mean a lot because triples are really scarce anyway, and only 7 homers. And of course, who hasn't homered? Joey,
Jess.
Neither one of them have an extra base hit.
Well, so the Reds have 7 total home runs. Molina hit his 5th last night.
Oh,
just to put that in perspective.
Yeah, and he's not really a home run hitter.
No, he's not.
So, and
so that's what's disappointing. Really, the offense is that. I mean, are you guys surprised at the pitching? Really?
No, I figured they'd struggle some.
I was hoping Castillo would be a little more than what he's been.
Yeah,
I am pleasantly surprised at Homer. He hasn't had back-to-back good starts, but okay, opening day it was the EDP by Scooter that lost that game. So he pitched that game, gave up. I think it may have been an earned run, but really to me it wasn't.
It was a quality start.
And then the Phillies start. Was it the Phillies that he had no hitter into the 5th inning, I believe, and then finished around 6 innings, 1 run. So to me, that's been a pleasant surprise. That
so is he 2 out of 3 quality starts?
Yeah, but
yes.
and all no decisions or whatever, or at least they didn't win those games.
So that's because in those 2 starts he's gotten 1 run.
Yeah.
And then Molly has been okay. I think he's been
after
like a 4th or 5th starter would be.
Yeah, I think that last night when he pitched, I think Pennington made 2 errors.
Right.
And put all kinds of pressure on him.
But he got out of that.
He got out of it, but he came out the next inning and seemed to not be the same. I don't know if it was the mental. Welsh was talking about last night. He says, you can't just go on pitch counts. It says, pitchers don't get. It's not so much they get tired physically; it's mentally. Yeah. That was his opinion. And would you agree with that? You can get more tired mentally than physically.
Well, think of teams. I mean, you get momentum going, and it rejuvenates you, or the opposite, right? It can really take a lot out of you if you get punched in the nose.
Yeah, and you go out there in the next inning thinking I got to make perfect pitches and strike guys out maybe, or my third baseman's going to boot it around again, or
my second baseman,
or my second baseman. Or my right fielder,
or Phillip Ervin.
Pick a player. You maybe he pressed a little bit, ball gets up, throws a couple pitches he shouldn't throw, and boom, 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 they hit the ball hard. So
I guess you talk about the trifecta, the defense too, right?
Yes.
And last year we played solid defense. Yes. Last year we hit and played solid defense.
Yeah.
But the pitching, and now we have all 3.
Yeah,
so it's disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that now we talked about this. I'm a little surprised that Finnegan is going today, but you did say he's pitched in Louisville?
He's pitched some. I don't remember exactly what he's done. You see he's done, I don't know if he's actually done a rehab start. He's coming off the DL today to start.
As you're looking that, I'll tell Tom, because Tom's not a Bob Steve fan, I know, but his start in Louisville, 7 innings. Now, he did walk 3, but he struck out 10. And so figuring, okay, he's probably had 1 or 2 starts in Louisville, and he's been healthy through spring training now. And Finnegan hasn't been healthy, and we're going to see if he's had a start. I just thought, well, give Bob Steve a shot.
What he did. I thought he did. He threw 98 pitches for Louisville on Monday. 4 runs, 3 earned, 8 hits, 5 walks, 2 strikeouts.
5 walks.
Yeah, but it's his first one back, but. So what they did with the roster moves, they activated him, Cody Reed. They moved to the bullpen, and they optioned Rainey back to AAA. They did a designate for assignment on Hernandez, Ariel Hernandez, and they brought up a guy named Floro, and his first name escapes me, Dylan Floro from Louisville. They designated Hernandez. They had to do that for him to clear a spot on a 40-man to get this Floro guy up. So he's 27. He was a non-roster invitee to spring training.
He'd be in Floro.
Yeah. 3 scoreless innings in 2 games for Louisville. He's a sinker ball guy. So that's what they're looking at to go with Hughes. Have another sinker ball guy to come out of the pen to keep the ball in the park, as Price says. He says, I think he's pitched in the big leagues before. I think the fact he's pitched in the big leagues before could make a difference. We won't have to get over so much of the jitters, which is really what we saw from Rainey and the other night, and Weiss. But Weiss is still there. But Rainey, I saw Rainey pitch in Dayton. I think he's good. I think he's got potential.
Yeah, that's what I
he throws the ball well. Just, come up and start walking batters and nerves and everything and jitters, and, all of a sudden things are a little different. But I don't think he's a guy. He's certainly not a guy they give up on. But I think Floro, we'll see. Hopefully he's sort of not thrown into a high leverage situation today. Hopefully we use a Garrett or a little more Iglesias. Feels like, you get a guy like Iglesias, supposed to be your closer, right? Of course, we haven't had any closing opportunities. But there have been some tight situations where it felt like Price should have used him instead of bringing in some other guys. Because he's shown that he'll pitch him a couple innings, and he hasn't thrown that much. So the start is awful. But I think that means teams go through this. The Dodgers, we're not going to be the Dodgers this year. I don't mistake that. They had an 11-game losing streak last year and won 104 games. Mm-hmm. Now, they went on a tear like nothing else in the second half. But the point is, teams have these stretches every season, right? Even the best teams. And the Reds are having theirs to start.
We just get ours out of the way early.
That's right. Get it out of the way early. And
maybe at the end of the season they say, can you remember how bad they started off too?
Yeah.
And I say, oh man, no, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That would be.
Yeah, that would be.
We're not counting on it, but that would be.
Okay, so let me ask you guys a question.
All right.
If you're going to say, all right, the best 25 players, was it 25, 26 players?
25.
These 25 players needs to be on the roster, right, from the whole organization. If Price is going to say, I want my best 25 players, isn't Senzel one of those top 25?
Probably pretty soon. I would think so. He's better than Pennington and Goslin and guys like that. At least the potential is there to be way better. So,
flat out answer, yes.
But you want to play him, so that's the whole thing.
Well, now's the chance with Suarez down, right? In his more natural position of third base, he's got experience with. So, I mean, wouldn't you guys be surprised if he doesn't come up in the next few days?
I wouldn't be surprised the next few days. The next few weeks, I'd be surprised if he's not up by, say, May 5th or something like that, May 10th. I could, that may surprise me, but next few days, I don't think that would surprise me.
Well, I mean, he could do it now anytime. I mean, there's no reason to not do it now.
Right. The service time issue's been taken care of. They won't lose a year of service time this year because of the 6 years before he can be a free agent. They won't lose that this year. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what the right answer is. I know that the emotional answer is we're 2-11, bring him up. What do we got to lose? That feels like that's the emotional answer, but it might also be the right answer.
So
you don't really
when
know.
Suarez comes back,
baseball's so unpredictable.
If he does well, I think you brought this up before. If Senzel comes up and does well, and then Suarez comes off the DL, then what do?
You someone else moves. You do not touch Senzel.
You don't put Suarez back at third?
No. I thought you meant in terms of sending him back down. I would love to see Suarez stay at third as hard as he's worked, and then do you put Senzel at second?
Yeah. Although our top hitter right now, Scooter Gennett, 293.
Peraza in the 2-hole. For some reason, right now, Peraza in the 2-hole is a lot different hitter than Peraza in the 6 and 7-hole.
I think he'll be a better hitter than last year.
And I think that is, you go back and look at last year's stats and see what his BA was when he batted in the 2-hole versus the non-2-hole. For whatever reason, he does much better up in the 2-hole. So if you have Peraza at short, Suarez at third, Senzel at second, that's not bad on paper.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a problem. This team, it's all on paper, right?
They have to take the field.
It's all on paper. So there's a lot of Brian Price hate out there right now. There's the Fire Brian Price Twitter account, of course, and there's others that are just like, get rid of this guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. And he's made some decisions that I didn't agree with. Pitching changes. You bring up Barnhart to pinch hit the other night with nobody out and 2 on, and then you have him bunt so that you can have Hamilton and Peraza follow, who are less likely to get a hit. Didn't make any sense to me.
You're just a bunt hater.
No, it wasn't Peraza. It was the lefty. I think it was Pennington.
No, it was
Pennington struck out.
It was Hamilton and Pennington, exactly.
And they both struck out.
And Barnhart, a guy, there's a reason. You know how they like, if you're on the ESPN app or different apps, it'll tell you like percentage of a chance to score based on historical stuff. And I heard somebody say that nobody on, or two guys, first and second, Barnhart at the plate. The Reds had almost a chance to score almost 2 runs percentage wise that inning. And as soon as he bunted those guys over,
went down.
with the 2 guys coming back, it went down to like 0.6. So that's, we
I
always
agree.
talk about playing the percentages, and that's a percentage that Price didn't play. He
know
was
how
very
I
old,
always-
he was old school on
You know,
that.
I always kid you about bunting.
Yeah.
Of course, when a pitcher's up, I mean, of course, it makes sense to
Yeah.
bunt.
If it had been
But-
the pitcher spot, yeah,
But in the
absolutely.
major league level, it doesn't make sense to bunt. Unless you're Billy Hamilton trying to get on for a hit.
And Peraza bunted himself on for a hit the other
He
night,
did.
and he tried last night, I think, and almost beat it out. He got the guy over, and he almost beat it out. They say, and then the announcer said, he's actually probably the best bunter on this team, Peraza, because he was like, they were not square around on bunting; they were quick, boom. And I know you haven't had a chance to watch as much, Kim. So, but they were. It was like he was holding the bat and then quick bunt, and he put down 2 nice bunts.
Bunting, the physical form the batter has with bunting when I played ball and how I was taught is incredibly different than what I see today. I think we talked about this last year. You square up to the pitcher, your whole body, you're there.
No,
and
that
now,
hasn't been taught
and
since
now,
we were young. You don't square up anymore.
And now it's the pivot. You
Yeah.
keep your feet in place, you pivot. And for me, having that right, since I'm batting righty, having that back foot square, it allows me to move more freely and bunt. But right now, when you say we have a best bunter on the team, well, we haven't had a good bunter at all. You've seen Amir Garrett try to bunt.
Yeah.
It's almost laughable. And I agree with you. There's a reason Barnhart has deservedly moved up to bat in the 5-hole at times this year already. It should have been in last year. But the good news about that out was he got the runners over. Barnhart did. Not a lot of our everyday players can even bunt to do
Right.
that.
I mean, he
But
did.
You're
He-
right.
he
This
did-
is the one guy we didn't want bunting. Let him swing away.
Exactly, especially when you got coming up what you got coming up.
Yeah.
If you bunt over for Votto, I mean, okay, I'm sure I still don't like it, but I don't like giving away an out.
I think the
but-
next 2 guys were basically, you combine their averages, they were a 200 hitter.
Yeah, pretty much.
That could be anyone on the Reds.
On the Reds, yeah, take your pick. Yeah, I mean, like Pennington's hitting 214 right now, and Hamilton's hitting 184, even though his OBP is 326, which is 27
He's walked
points
a lot
higher.
the past 3 or 4
Yeah,
games.
he's been walking. He's getting on base, so.
Okay, so for 4 starters, Homer, or Bailey, Molly, Romano, and Castillo. Which one would you have expected to have the best ERA
Probably
after 3 games?
Probably Castillo.
We would have all expected Castillo, right?
Right.
He's the worst.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
He's the lowest or the highest ERA right now, 7.3.
right. Homer's 324. Molly
Molly and Romano about the same.
563. Romano is 587, and who did you say? Oh, Castillo is 731. I think we like Castillo. We think he's going to work. He hasn't been awful. He's just been inconsistent. Looked good against some guys. He's probably the guy I've seen pitch the least of any of them, actually.
Yeah, I've only seen him throw the one time.
Right. So, because I was out of town a couple days last week, and
He's
only
like
saw parts of
13
one
runs
game.
and 16 innings.
And don't
What-
forget Shebs.
And yeah, we're missing him. There's some power. He hit a home run in those first few games. Finally, they said he's got the feeling back in the
Does
hand.
he? Good.
So he's starting to. Could be early this week. He might have to. He might do a rehab stint. I saw. So you could see him somewhere for a couple days, either Louisville or Dayton, depending on who's at home. If Louisville, if they're at home, if they're not, you could see him in Dayton a couple days. It's possible.
Isn't it funny? We were talking about the 4-man rotation, how that was going to work. Got 2 of them out.
Two of them, yeah. Well, I know. Yeah, that's the one point I made. It's like, we can bust on Price all we want, but Schebler's out, Suarez is out, Lorenzen, Hernandez, Finnegan. There's 6 guys that were supposed to be key players on this team are out. Everybody has to deal with injuries, but when you're young, team, I think it's worse on you. I just think it is.
I don't care. You put Sparky Anderson, Connie Mack, Tony La Russa. It's not going to matter. This team is what it is.
No, and I don't think those few mistakes or questionable decisions that Price has made would make this team 11-2. No. I mean, it might. I mean, it's just not. It's just not there. I mean, it might make them 3-10, 4-9, but we'd still be fussing. So, fortunately, Tom and I did get to see one of the 2 wins in person this year. We went down to the opening day part 2 where they had the parade. I'd never gotten to go to the parade, so I enjoyed that. It was freezing cold, but we ducked in a coffee shop and had some warm coffee.
It was colder watching the game than it was the parade,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it was fun.
It was
kind of a
fun.
little slice of Americana.
Yeah, and then we went to Skyline, and that was nice. And then we went over the game and froze, but it was worth staying and watching because they actually beat the Cubs 1-0.
It's fun.
So for 1-0 game, you hope to see a little more offense, but it was still fun to watch. The nice part about it was over in 2.5 hours because it was like low 40s by the time that game ended.
We're undefeated against the Cubs this year.
Yeah, we swept. We have swept one series, that 1-game series with the Cubs.
Shut them out! Shut them out!
Oh yeah, who are the
Scored a
Cubs?
run against us this year.
We got their number. Too bad we only played them once.
We think.
All right, historically, now I know it's early. And I don't think this team is going to be historically set a record for losses or anything. I think they're going to bounce back. Before the start of the season, I would have said they had a real fighting chance to get a couple games over 500. And then injuries started happening, and people have gotten hurt, and they just haven't played well. To climb back to that level would be, I don't know that they can do that. 68 wins the last 2 years. Can they get above that? I still think they can get above that. I don't know how much. A lot of teams have gone from a bad record to a winning record. I just don't see it. But the worst winning percentage in Reds history.
Are we all ready to this conversation?
We're gonna do it.
13 games into it.
We're just gonna do it. All right. 1934. This was before they played 162 games. They had a .344 winning percentage. They were 52-99.
Wow.
In the even more modern era of 162 games, in 82, remember how bad they were back then.
Yeah, the 80s were tough.
Those early 80s especially. 61-101 for .377. So 34 is the worst winning percentage of .344, and 82 are the most defeats, 101.
So we're shooting for more than 61 is what we're saying.
We got to get to 60. Well,
we'd like to have at least 63.
let's get it to 63 so we don't lose 100. And I don't really think that that's going to be a problem in the long term. I don't know if Brian Price will be the manager, but I guess that's one question to ask: is would Tony Perez get 44 games?
Well, with the product on the field right now, it doesn't matter who is managing.
I don't think
you get a healthy Suarez, you get a healthy Schebler, a healthy Winker, and you bring up Senzel, and the pitching staff warms up. It still doesn't matter who's managing the team. You're going to do better.
Yeah.
But we get it somewhat. There's got to be some sort of change.
But if things get healthy and it's a more stable roster and they keep losing, he'll lose his job.
Yeah, I agree. He will. If the midseason gets here and everything is like, we should be winning more games.
Yeah.
Then he's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know who they'll bring in.
Barry Larkin.
I don't know.
Been rumors on that several times.
Yeah, I think he's as old school as Price or more. I read something where somebody was talking about, I don't remember if it was Red Leg Nation or wherever. I just bounce around reading different things. It's hard to remember where you read stuff, but especially at my age, our age.
Your age.
Yeah. When Larkin was on ESPN a few years ago, whoever wrote this said he was always the guy who was always like, analytics, forget them. Very old school, So I have a feeling if he comes in as manager, he's probably kind of that way, and that won't go over well with the fan base.
No, it's not
in this day and age.
You know,
I don't want to be buried my nose in the analytics either. I like that a little bit of balance. So
I was not here in Ohio when he played.
Right.
I'm not a fan of giving him the job if they can price. I'm not. He may be it for, say, the next year or two, but in the middle of the season, no, I'd rather not give it to him because if they continue to do bad, it just, you really want to, if he's going to come in, give him a clean start.
Right.
I don't know if he's the right guy, period, but I will say this. I've heard, and I cannot substantiate, what do I know? I'm not in the clubhouse, that some of those difficult seasons they had, he left the team at the end of the year, would not play in the last couple of games. If that's true, I don't want him managing the team. If that's true.
He has no managerial experience.
Agreed. Now, did Boone with the Yankees, he have managerial experience?
I don't think he did.
Right.
No, but he inherited a better team.
But we're talking about experience, not inheriting whoever. If you're the type of player who's going to quit on your team and leave, and I get it, it's 180-something days. It's 162 games. It's a long season. It wears on you. But to walk away from your team, if that was him, I don't want him managing.
Griffey did the same thing.
Yeah,
Griffey
exactly.
wasn't there last couple of games.
And then when he was in Seattle, do you remember why when he ended up retiring in the middle of the season? They went in and they found him asleep on the trainer's table during the game.
He was DH and he fell asleep in between the bats.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, we don't need this. And
right.
Pete Rose has a lot of faults, as we've learned. But when Pete played, he played to win. And there was no other. I mean, loved it. Number 14 out there, and he walked and he threw the bat down and he sprinted. You got to be ready.
There's different.
That's what I want to see.
There's different levels. I think there's a. You're going to come to work every day because you have integrity, right? Mm-hmm. But then there's coming to work every day and giving your all. Mm-hmm. And then there's not coming to work. Mm-hmm. And that's
collecting a paycheck.
That's right. And that's where you're talking about. And these guys are not. I mean, think how much they're getting paid per game. To not come the last 2 games? Are you kidding me? Come on. I'm with you. We got very philosophical on this podcast today.
Well, that's about all we can do right now.
We could talk about breakfast.
Breakfast was great. The breakfast edition, as you pointed out earlier.
As I pointed out. And why was it the breakfast edition?
Well, earlier in the week, we were discussing through texting what time. And so we finally agreed upon 9 o'clock, and Jeff said, I'll make breakfast. I'll make omelets. And so this morning we showed up, and he's in the kitchen making omelets and had bacon ready to go and had the onions and tomatoes and
peppers.
cheese
Peppers.
and
they had a
peppers
little Red's Flair with the red peppers.
mushrooms. Yes, a very good Red's Flair. And so,
but these were winning omelets.
They were. Best omelet I've ever had in my whole life.
So I can't wait for the next breakfast.
Oh well, you want French toast next time? You kept texting. Are we having French toast too? French toast. No.
It was that kind of week. It was that kind of week.
Yeah. There was a little free food this week on campus, wasn't there? A couple receptions that we attended and had free food at. So, well, anyway, so I'm glad you guys enjoyed breakfast.
Thank you.
We had to have something enjoyable today because all we're talking about is this team that's losing.
Our special guest star,
who we love,
John Helmick, said we're really 3-year-old Reds fans on Valium right now because of the season. So.
Yes, exactly. Trivia question. You had a idea, Tom. What was the one? You said that they...
Yeah, they had it on the broadcast the other night, so if you listen to the broadcast, you probably already know this.
Yeah.
But what decade... Actually,
our European fans won't have known this, so go. This is good.
And actually, our European fans, right, this just for them.
Unless they're on MLB.
On the broadcast, they gave exact years, but I don't remember, for choices. But they were all from a different decade, so... the question is, what decade did the Reds start putting names on the back of their uniforms?
What decade or what year?
The broadcast was what year, and they gave 4 choices for years.
Uh-huh.
But they were like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s were the choices.
In each of those.
Yeah. So I think I didn't hear the answer, so I don't know the answer to this.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to look it up before our next broadcast. I think Marty guessed the 30s was his guess.
My guess was 60s.
That would be my guess.
I would have guessed 60s too. Marty would know.
He would. Well, he wasn't broadcasting in the 60s, but he might know the answer to that. So
Klazuski did not wear, when you think about his jersey, it didn't have his name on the back?
I don't know.
I think it did.
It might have.
That's a long name.
Yeah.
It might have.
We just saw those jerseys at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but we saw the fronts.
Yeah.
They weren't. It was all in the Hall of Fame, they got this new Reds Threads display where some people are lending the Hall of Fame some of their jersey collections. It's from all decades, pretty much, of the Reds, at least in the modern era.
And not just Reds, there were some other.
There was a few others in there. They had like an old Seattle uniform and a couple other old ones. I was looking for that Braves one with the feather on the sleeve, so I could explain to Tom that it was a feather, but we didn't see that one.
Really fun to look at the old Reds uniforms.
It was fun.
They had some. The Reds used to, their logo had some blue in it for a while.
Yeah, back in the 30s, 40s, whatever,
neat,
or maybe before that, had some blue. Yeah.
The Reds were the first team in spring training to adorn what color?
Probably green.
On March 17th.
Did they do that?
They were the first ones?
They were the first ones to do it. They did it unannounced.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
So we'll all try and find out when the decade was the Reds put their name on it.
So there was a scoreboard stumper the other night, which Jamie Ramsey for the Reds, he always usually puts it out on Twitter. And I knew you weren't able to watch, and so I threw because you were out somewhere, Kim, and you were, where were you, California, Anaheim?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't want to say?
It was top secret.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Area 51.
Anyway, it was 4 Reds and 4 Cardinals. No, well, 4 players hit 20 home runs as a Red and 20 home runs as a Cardinal. So, did you see the answers on our text?
I did.
You did. He reads our texts. Even when he's not involved, he went back and read. So I knew right off it was Ludwig, and then I got Reggie Sanders pretty quick, and then Scott Rowland. I got that one, and then you texted back, Kim, with the first 2 pretty quick, and I think, and then you
got the third one.
Then you added Rowland, and I'm like, I can't think of the 4th guy. And of course, as I think of a name, I'm looking him up on Baseball Reference, and then looking to see if I'm right. And I'm like, I can't think, and then he finally comes through with the 4th one, Ronnie Gant, who played 1 year with the Reds. That's probably why I
would not. I mean, I remembered he was a Red. I remembered he was a Brave. I did not know he was a Cardinal.
Yeah, well, he was one of those guys that bounced around a lot. Different teams.
We had a lot of those. I mean, Gant, Kevin Mitchell, Greg Vaughn. We had players who.
Vaughn 1 year, right? He had like 45 homers or something.
He had 52 1 year.
Yeah, but I think he was 45.
52 maybe with the Padres.
Somebody else, but he hit 45, I think, with the Reds that year. Yeah.
And Kevin Mitchell could wake up in the morning and hit.
Yeah.
The best.
One of the slowest guys ever on base.
He started out with the Mets.
Oh, did he start with the Mets? Yeah, he's with the Mets.
He was a shortstop.
You're kidding me.
No, on the team that won the.
How did that guy play
World
shortstop?
It's not smaller.
Because there's
ever a guy that belonged in the American League.
The best video of him. Well, no. Listen to this. The best video of him is when he's playing left field for the San Francisco Giants. You remember this?
Yeah.
He's running back.
I'll never forget that.
Running back towards the foul line, and then reaches back with his bare hand and catches the ball. You know? I'm thinking, my goodness. No, we don't want to make this guy a DH. He doesn't even need a glove. He can play out there with us on whatever day it's called.
I remember one time watching a game, and I don't remember who was calling the game. It must have been on television. I don't think this was Marty or anything. And he was calling, or it was probably an ESPN Sports Center highlight is probably what it was. And Mitchell, he got pretty heavy.
Yes.
And he was slow. And he comes around third base, and the guy doing the highlight says something to the effect that as he's rounding third base, and here comes a truck around, was it a truck? Like a big truck coming around third base. Oh, no, that's Kevin Mitchell. Something like that. Some big, overweight, and slow. Some big truck. No, it's Kevin Mitchell. So,
and then you were allowed to have collisions at the plate.
Yes. Yeah, you didn't want to have one with him. That's for sure. Well, last year we started this podcast a little bit into the season, and maybe we can kind of finish up with this, where we made our fearless prediction of how many games this team would win. So if you had to put a number on it, Kim, how many games can this team win?
It's hard for me to predict, and I don't like predicting. Let me give you an example why. In the
I'm
NFL,
going to make you predict anyway.
I know. In the NFL, last year, if you asked prognosticators who's going to do well, probably no one picked the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yet there they were. They beat the Steelers in the regular season and the playoffs, I believe, and did very well against the Patriots. So this year they're going to be the trendy pick. No one seems to be able to pick from scratch, so to speak. So I always say, if how do I put this? Things being as they are, if things remain the same, in other words, no changes, I don't see this team winning more than 70 games. Now, having said that, recognizing that Suarez should come back, Shepler should come back, Senzel's going to be moved up, the pitching should improve. Maybe in a month we can address this again and see where do we stand on our picks now.
Nope, sorry.
But
you
things
can't change your picks.
Okay. things
from the guy who changes his mind all the time.
I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Things being as they are today and what we see today, no more than 70 wins.
I won't be wishy-washy like some people. 68 wins.
Oh, no better, no worse than last 2 years.
68.
Wow.
What do you say, Mr. Gilbert?
Well, before the season started, I was ready to go like 84
Wow.
because I still think this team eventually is going to play like a team that could win 84 games. If you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean. They're going to play. I think they're eventually going to play like a team that would be a team that could win that many games. But the start is so bad, and I don't know when we're going to get over this. When are they going to start to settle down and maybe start winning? It's hard to say more than I'll say 73.
Let's hope you're right compared to our answers.
Well, yeah, and I hope. Yeah.
Remember last year? I remember last year Tom vividly saying,
"Oh yeah,
hope by the All-Star break we're no more than 5 games out." The team was there. They were there. So
and we're 5 or 6 at the All-Star break last year, right? Weren't we in that range?
I think we ended up being about 7 to 8 games
7
out
to 8.
We didn't finish within 5.
It
We
was
were
close.
hoping and we thought we would, but we weren't. So again, all things being equal, what I see now, but things are going to change throughout the year.
Yeah, I just all I wanted was to play some meaningful games in August and maybe into September at least a little bit. If they did that, I thought this is a pretty good year.
Be fun.
But if they're not going to play meaningful games, if they're not going to play meaningful games in August or September, then pretty much from here on out, they're not playing meaningful games. They're not going to get back in it, and so that's distressing a little bit. You rather enjoy that season, and everybody would. It's looking pretty bleak, but it is early. We have to remember that. I mean, they are 7 games out of first place right now. I mean, the Pirates are 9-4. I'm not buying Pirates stock either.
No, I'm not either.
And the Brewers and the Cardinals are 7-7. The Cubs are 6-7. The Cubs, kind of a slow starting team as usual. Last year they were.
So what's the magic number? About 155?
155 what?
Is that the magic number?
Right the magic number? It's about 155. Yeah, we that would be.
We still have a chance.
That would be a good thing to do on Twitter every night. Red's
magic number.
The Reds' magic number to be eliminated at this point is 150, 140.
I know the 3 old Reds fans.
Yeah, we'll do that. We should do that. That might get some attention.
Hey, and then you say something. We had to have something to get you to smile.
Wow, yeah, something to track. Besides Billy's on base percentage and Homer's
which
ERA,
is about 155,
which will mirror.
Oh my!
We told you we're depressed. We just don't have the Valium.
All right, so we're gonna finish on Hunter Greene because we want to finish on a high note.
Yay!
And so Hunter the other night in Dayton comes out, he gives him a couple runs the first inning. From the way I heard it discussed was that he was throwing 100 miles an hour right out the gate, and he learns, even in single A, if you just throw fastballs 100 miles an hour, guys can turn them around, right? And then from there, he mixed it up a little more breaking stuff, his curveball and everything, or his slider. It's a slider, isn't it?
I thought it was a slider.
Yeah, he's got that big slider. And did you see the highlights of it?
Just a little bit.
It's big. It's a big slider.
It's a big slider.
It looks like a curveball.
Yeah,
it looks like a 12-6 curveball.
Yeah, it's a big slider, and guys were it's.
Which means he's got really tight spin on that thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so then did he pitch three? Did he pitch into the fourth at all, or was
I
it
thought
just
he pitched into
like
the fourth.
3 1/3
but I don't
or
Well,
know
he's
for
got a
sure.
6.0 ERA.
It might have been 3 1/3. I don't remember, but he struck out 8.
Yeah.
So like out
And
of
most
his,
of them on the breaking pitch.
yeah, most of
It
them
wasn't
on
the
that.
fast.
Yeah,
The highlights at least didn't show him blowing people away,
that was his put away pitch.
which it would be. You're trying to get ready for that 100-mile-per-hour heater.
Right. So he's obviously very young. He's 18. There will be guys drafted here and pretty soon out of high school that are probably older than him still. He has been working on a changeup too. He threw it once or twice the other night,
You got to have
which
free
is
pitches.
fine. He's 18. He'll develop that
Get Mario
changeup.
Soto to teach him that change.
Yeah, he'll develop it in time. He'll develop it and he'll be good. I think what I think of when I first started hearing about him and the Reds got him, I thought, man, you don't want to. You try to be optimistic, but you don't want to be crazy. But the crazy optimistic is this the next Doc Gooden? That's the crazy optimistic, because that guy was 19.
For that to happen, he's got to be moved up this year.
Yeah, right.
He can't
Well,
stop the Dragons.
I don't know that he has to make the majors as quick as Doc did, but at 20 years old, if he's pitching for the Reds, is he Doc? Is he sort of that guy? Mm-hmm. Is he the ace out of the gate?
If he moves up to Double-A this year, he could be in spring training next year.
He could be. Mm-hmm. He could be. And that once in a while there's the phenoms that just ascend very quickly. Mike Trout feels like he's been around forever, right? How old's that guy? Like 25? The Mike Trouts, the Doc Goodens.
Bob Horners for back in the day.
Yeah,
Old
right out of
school guys
college.
like us.
Horner. Wow.
Griffey Jr. was very young when he hit the majors.
Not only did Doc Gooden wear his number on his back, his age on his back, Robin Yount played in the majors at 19.
19.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's guys like that, and they do that. And maybe Hunter Greene's that guy. We hope so. Then that will be fun.
We know we're not going to see him this
But
year.
no
No.
one will likely ever beat the record of the youngest major leaguer ever, the ex-Red
Joe Nuxhall.
Joe Nuxhall.
Yes.
His
Well,
age?
He was 15.
15.
Yeah.
And then went back to high school, Hamilton High.
Yeah.
After he did that.
and played high school sports, played basketball and everything. My dad actually saw him play basketball in high school.
Kind of like Neil Armstrong had his pilot's license before he had his driver's license.
Yeah. Because Hamilton in those days, my dad's from Springfield, and Hamilton and Springfield were in the same league. Because there weren't that many big schools, so as many as there are now. Okay, well, we ended on a high note. We're all about Hunter. Just as long as we don't go see him pitch as a group, he's okay.
We may be better now after you and I went to.
That's true. We saw Molly throw the one
So
one
maybe it
hitter.
was myself or Helmick was the...
Could have been.
It's probably Helmick. We pick on him because he's not here.
And we want Jose Siri to get better because he was having a good spring. We want to see Taylor Trammell continue to develop. The catcher
Stevenson tearing the cover off the ball.
Stevenson,
Tyler Stevenson.
We
And
want to see him develop.
He's a big guy. He looks like he's not as big as like Carlton Fisk, but he's toward that size.
Jody Davis.
Yeah, he's big. Yeah.
So
He's
we
big
want to see
like-
those guys develop in key positions for us because I'm not counting on Dilson Herrera.
No.
I think the Reds are. I'd be surprised if he's with the Reds next year. But Trammell, Stevenson, Siri, those guys want to see them develop.
Right, and Jeter Downs is a
Yep.
good-looking second baseman now in Dayton, and Shed Long is out there, and so
Well, and
some of these guys are going to pay off.
And they said that they've signed a bunch of Hispanic guys in the off season.
Yeah, they drafted a
what's
guy
his
last
name?
year. It was good.
From the Dominican, they had a huge.
Yeah, they signed a
signing-
shortstop last year. I
But
don't
more
remember.
than that, I mean, he acted like they signed a bunch of people too. So
Interesting. So, anything else?
No,
Ready to close it up?
What time do we play today? Night game, afternoon game? Do we even play today
Probably
because of the weather?
probably afternoon.
You mean? Yeah. Well, they'll be on the field at some point today. Whether they actually play or not, is another story.
What time's the schedule
I'm
start?
looking. The scheduled start is it's 1:10 p.m. against the
We
Cardinals.
could have been there and had the lunch edition.
Ah, yes.
At the condo, we could have moved over Jim Day.
Yeah, we'll be there someday. At least we got a place to stay in Goodyear when we go out there. Now we have a mutual acquaintance, and he's retiring to Scottsdale. So we were kidding yesterday about.
We all have to find a
how we-
And
conference there.
we had another one who's going to be out in Arizona for about a month, but he
Yeah.
kind of let us know that we weren't welcome.
We weren't welcome. No, he knows us. These guys probably know us a little too well to ever let us stay with them. So unless maybe we'll let them be on the podcast, maybe that would be the thing to do. Hey, at least 40 people will hear you. So or more
from
Ukraine,
Yep.
Slovenia,
Baltic countries.
Canada. Yeah, we're worldwide. So yeah, 1:00 today. So, well, the next time you hear from us, hopefully the Reds will have at least doubled their win total.
Amen.
That would be nice. Get to 4. If not, well, we might be headed for one of the worst
And
seasons
we
ever.
need Joe, and we all three love Joey, and it hurts me to see him. I mean, if he
He's
hits the
hitting
ball out of the
271,
infield,
but-
but if he hits the ball out of the infield, I feel like inside of me, like, yes, okay, but you just want to see him start ripping the ball because here I am thinking he's 34, right? At some point in time, the skills are going to go down. I don't want it to be yet. I want him to be on that team when they play meaningful games
Yeah, I
in
agree.
September.
Yeah,
I agree.
He's been a slow starter before. I mean, last year he wasn't.
Well,
He was
yeah.
slow. Not this slow, but I mean, his average
But
was
he's
lower
not
last.
tattooed the ball.
No.
Those balls.
He's swinging at a ton of first pitches. Have you
He's not
noticed?
walking as much, and those. I love seeing him going to left field. When the
He
other
did that
night, when there
last
was
night.
no one between second and third the other night in Philadelphia. Just put the bat on the ball out there and just ground ball through the hole where no one was. I like that, but he's not tattooing the ball.
No.
It's seeing eyeball singles through the shift
Yeah.
up the middle.
Well,
Maybe they're pitching him differently this year, or who knows?
I don't know. Last night, 5-2. I think Billy was on,
Billy was on second.
and he went the other way with a pretty decent line drive into left field. Not
Unfortunately, it was Billy on base because his speed he could
he
score.
scored,
Otherwise,
he scored easy.
otherwise you're going to hold up Scooter. You're going to hold up.
Yeah, he would
You're
have
gonna let
scored.
Billy and Peraza go.
Peraza would have scored. Barnhart might not have scored. Kevin Mitchell wouldn't have scored.
No.
He might have got the third. Head first belly flop, and I mean belly
He'd
flop.
probably scooped it with his bare hand and thrown him out.
All right, well, we're not heading for. Well, we might be heading for one of the worst seasons ever, as long as it's not the worst season ever. But one of these days, the sun is going to shine.
Amen.
On the Cincinnati Reds.
Amen.
And we'll be here when
We
it
will be
happens.
there to see it.
That's right. Well,
It'll be better because of these years, right?
right. Exactly. I don't know what else to say to that. You're exactly right. All right.
That's why you're a fan through thick and thin.
Absolutely. So, well, until the next time, go Reds.
Go Reds.
Go Reds.